Good Monday morning, first graders. It is so good to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. Our book this week is Ghouls Don't Scoop Ice Cream. All right, I'm excited to hear this story. I really enjoyed our last Bailey School Kids book. This one looks just as good. Let me see how many chapters we have. 12 chapters. Okay, so I'm going to get into the first 3 chapters today. All right. Chapter 1, Vampire Teacher. I can't believe it, Eddie complained after school. Melody sat down hard on the ground under a big oak tree beside her friends Eddie, Howie, and Lisa. Melody's black pigtails bounced as she shook her head. I can't believe we have to do 100 math problems before tomorrow. I wanted to finish reading my library book. Lisa looked ready to cry. Now I have to spend the whole night figuring out these problems. Howie opened his math book to page 96. Actually, these review problems are very easy. It'll be fun. Eddie threw his baseball cap at Howie. Math is not fun. Soccer is fun. A Doodle Gum shake is fun, but math is not fun. Doodle Gum shakes, Lisa shrieked. That'll make us feel better. Let's go get one. Here's a picture. The 4 kids took off across the playground. They looked both ways before crossing Forest Lane and racing down the sidewalk to Burger Doodle restaurant. I bet the other 3rd graders don't have to do all those math problems, Eddie complained. That's because other 3rd graders don't have a vampire for a teacher, Howie said. We never actually proved that Mrs. Jeepers is a vampire, Lisa said when they turned the corner. After all, if she was a real vampire, then how could she be awake during the day? Vampires are supposed to be awake only at night. It's because of her magic brooch, Eddie told her. I bet that's the reason she can be awake during the day. Lisa put her hands on her hips as they stood in front of Burger Doodle restaurant. Even if she is a vampire, maybe she can't help herself. Howie closed his math book. Maybe Mrs. Jeepers isn't a vampire. Maybe she's a ghoul. A ghoul? Eddie and Lisa shouted together. What in the world is a ghoul? Lisa asked. A ghoul is a spy for a vampire, Howie explained. I learned about ghouls when I was reading a book about vampires. Melody nodded. She remembered when Howie and she had read that garlic would repel vampires. They had taken a bottle of garlic salt and sprinkled it around their classroom. Sure enough, their teacher, Mrs. Jeepers, had started sneezing. She was allergic to the garlic, just like a vampire. Lisa grabbed the door handle to Burger Doodle. Let's forget all this crazy talk about ghouls and vampires and get a big, fat Doodle Gum shake. All right, Eddie yelled and barged past Lisa. But what he saw inside the restaurant made him stop dead in his tracks. Dun, dun, dun. Chapter 2, Scout. Who is that? Melody whispered, pointing to the figure behind Burger Doodle's counter. She's the new counter worker, Howie explained. How can you tell it's a she? Eddie asked. I can't even see her face. It was true. The new worker wore a dark blue sweatsuit with the hood pulled up over her head. You want to see? My dad brought me here last night, Howie told them. When you get up close, she looks like a girl. Come on, Lisa said. Let's get our shakes. Lisa walked right up to the counter. 1 Doodle Gum shake, please, she said. The girl behind the counter looked up with red eyes that seemed to stare right through Lisa. The counter girl didn't smile, and she was so pale, she looked sick. Silently, she made the shake with slow movements, then sat in front of Lisa. "That will be $1, the girl said. It sounded like she was talking in her sleep. Lisa gulped and pulled out $1 out of her jacket pocket. When Lisa handed over the money, she noticed the girl's name tag. It said Scout in big white letters. Lisa took the shake to a far corner booth and waited for her friends. When they arrived with their shakes, they spoke in hushed tones. "Did you see that girl's eyes?" Eddie asked. "I think she was up all night milking the cows to make these milkshakes." "Shh," Lisa said. "Maybe she's sick and can't help how her eyes look." "If she's sick," Eddie said loudly, "she should be at home in bed, not making my milkshakes. I don't want to end up with red eyes, too." Melody giggled. "Red eyes would match your red hair perfectly." "And Scout syrup," Howie said, nodding toward the counter. The kids stared at Scout. The hooded girl silently scooped a big blob of red ice cream into a dish and then poured a heavy red liquid on top. Scout took the dish to a small table in the back. Where she stuck her pale face close to the dish and started slurping. "Yuck," Melody said softly. "Doesn't she have any manners?" Lisa nervously took a sip of her milkshake and continued watching Scout lick up the red syrup. When she finished, the new counter girl looked up with her red eyes. Lisa choked on her milkshake when she noticed how the sticky red syrup dripping down Scout's chin looked just like blood. Chapter 3. Neighborhood of the Dead. The bells on the door of Burger Doodle jingled when it opened suddenly. Eddie quickly lowered his head and slurped his shake. He wasn't fast enough to miss Carrie, batting her long eyelashes in his direction. Carrie was in their class. She had a habit of following Eddie wherever he went. Melody giggled. "Carrie likes you," she told Eddie. "She does not," Eddie said. "Then why does she always wink at you?" Lisa asked. "Because she's crazy," Eddie said. "Ignore her so she'll go away." Carrie didn't go away. Instead, she skipped across the floor that her blonde curls bounced. She stopped right by Eddie. "I knew I'd find you here," Carrie said. "I think I'll get a shake too." "I'd like to shake her," Eddie mumbled. When she skipped to the counter, "I'd shake her all the way to the North Pole." "Be nice," Lisa warned. "She isn't hurting anyone." "Not yet," Eddie said as Carrie brought her drink to their table and squeezed between Eddie and Melody. "Why aren't you home working on the math problems?" Howie asked. Carrie shook her head and batted her eyelashes. "I can't go home yet. We're moving today. My daddy just bought a house on Olympus Lane." Carrie's father was the president of the Bailey City Bank. Her family had more money than anyone in Bailey City. Carrie was just used to getting everything she wanted. Carrie spoke loudly enough for everyone in the entire restaurant to hear. "Our house is the biggest one in the entire neighborhood." Melody rolled her eyes. "It may be the biggest, but I wouldn't want to live there," she told Carrie. "Why not?" Carrie asked. "Because," Melody said, "all those houses are next to the cemetery. It's the neighborhood of the dead." Eddie started to laugh, but just then Scout's ice cream scooper clattered to the floor. Lisa gasped when Scout headed their way. She was moving so fast over the shiny linoleum that it looked like she was gliding. The 5 kids looked up into the red eyes of the strange ice cream worker. Scout stared right at Carrie. Tell me all about your new neighborhood," Scout asked in her slow, serious voice. Boom. There are not many houses, Carrie told her. It's very quiet, especially since the cemetery is close by. Eddie laughed. That's right, he said. There's no one to bother you. Excellent, Scout. Oh, wait, I said that wrong. Excellent, Scout said slowly. Why do you want to know about Carrie's neighborhood? Lisa asked. Scout turned her red eyes toward Lisa. Because, she said, the family and I work for is planning to move to Bailey City. I came before them to investigate. Investigate what? Howie asked. I am looking for the perfect house, she said, and I think I might find it in Carrie's neighborhood. Scout slowly turned and made her way back to the ice cream counter. The 5 kids watched her grab a small tape recorder. Scout talked in low tones into the tiny recorder. That girl gives me the creeps, Melody said. I've never heard of a house detective before, Eddie said. Howie shook his head. I don't think she's a detective, he said. I think she's a spy. That is the end of chapter 3. This is good so far. This is interesting. It's kind of interesting. What do you think's up with Scout? Do you think she's just sick? Or is she a ghoul? Is she working for a vampire? What's going on with her? I'll show you the cover one more time. You even see her name tag says Scout on it. Good book so far. How was your weekend? I hope it was good. This weekend, I barbecued. I mowed more of my lawn. I mowed half of my lawn last week, and then I mowed the rest of it last weekend. What else did I do? Played some video games. I watched a couple movies. I went on a hiking trail. I took my dog, Arrow. You guys haven't seen my dog, Arrow, yet, have you? He's not in here right now. Tomorrow, I'll try to remember to have him in here, and I'll show him to you. He's smaller than Darby. He's about almost half her size. He's like 50-something pounds. Darby's about 100. Arrow's great on the leash. He listens. He stays by my side. He doesn't pull hard on the leash. There's actually some areas that we've taken him without a leash, like out in the woods, deep in the woods where there's no other people or dogs. He stays right by your side the whole time. He's pretty cool. Darby, on the other hand, if you take her for a walk, I have to have like a special gentle leader on her head because she pulls so hard, and every time she sees another person or a dog, she freaks out and either wants to play with them or she's trying to be dominant over other dogs because she's an alpha female. So if she sees another dog that looks like it's bossy, she gets really bossy and barky and tries to pull. But super, super friendly with people. She's the kind of dog that would probably jump in with a mailman and go. And like she wouldn't even miss us. I mean, she loves me and I love her so much, but she's the kind of dog that it's like she loves everybody, kind of a thing. Arrow sticks by my side. Anyways, back to the conversation about I went for a hike yesterday. Took Arrow. He stays by my side. He does great. We went to a place called Palisades Park. It's not too far from Brown, maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. Yeah, it was a nice hike. There was a lot of people out. That's about it. It was kind of a lazy weekend, honestly, other than I did a little bit of yard work, but other than that, I just kind of relaxed. But yes, I've emailed your parents. There's an update for the week. Packets are coming soon. I'm having a staff meeting tomorrow on Zoom. So I'm going to find out when parents can come and pick up packets. First grade team, me, and the other first grade teachers have been working on packets. Those are almost ready to go. When you pick up your packets, you'll bring in your old packets. But I will send an email to let your parents know all of this, so don't worry about trying to remember it or jot stuff down to tell them. I will let them know. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for Chapter 4 and more.